Right, hiya people. Today I have conglomerated my workshop build from the first lockdown when nothing was available because everywhere was shut. So I take these two sheds and turn them into my workshop and my wife's new shed that she ended up using as a classroom for our two small children the entire time of lockdown. So I've had to build my workshop with what's available at the time because everywhere's shut. Alright, so I did start putting in a footing down the back here. Look, there's the wood. This side here I was using as a spray booth. So as I worked all the way through the lockdown, it was bits and pieces here and there as I could do things. I dug this out to a foot deep and then filled it with concrete. Then I started stripping down the shed on the other side. I emptied it. Next thing is to rip the floor out, and you might notice there's some tree trunks in the way. The reason the tree trunks are in the way is everywhere's fucking shut and I can't get hold of a chainsaw. So nice level beam in off of the other footing and carry on regardless. Bit of shattering board each side of that chain link fence, and that's ready for a few barrows of muck. Now most of this footage was taken from 2 years ago where I weren't that good with the camera. I mean, I'm not that good with the camera now. So it does go from widescreen to square screen every now and again. But, you know, bear with me. The story's there, isn't it? I mean, I'm not swearing. Just keep watching. I was very lucky with the sand and cement. There's a yard up the road and I've got a helpful neighbour next door with a trailer. So now this footing's in places it's 18 inches deep. There's a concrete post there in the corner. That is lovely for support. And it now runs the whole length of the back of the garden. Good base. Still can't get a chainsaw anywhere, but I did manage to get 180 bricks for nothing off of Facebook from about 6 different people. So I laid them, and that is the bottom of the back wall of the workshop. It's hard to lay bricks when they're all different sizes, but we'll see how level it come out, shall we? Level. That'll do me. Right, time to take the roof down on that little lean-to shed. You might see the wife's arm get involved in a minute. And a couple of days after I built the wall, I put the back of the workshop on using sterling board and 3-inch square posts. That is incredibly solid. The posts come off the docks that they use to put between pallets on boats. Right, this little baby tree stump was in the way and I did manage to cut it out using the reciprocating saw. Then I laid some slabs I had just hanging around over the top of where it had been. Now it's time to remove and take down this shed here. This is the wife's old shed. It's 4'6" wide by 8 foot. It was a mixture of other sheds that were pulled down around the corner from where we live, and I just reassembled them. So we'll strip that down and we'll rebuild it bigger. I've reused absolutely every panel. Now it's time to fill it with all the stuff out of my shed. I'm leaving that door in the side there for now, but the entrance will be at the front because I can just walk straight from my shed to there in 3 steps. Now, these tree stumps are becoming a nuisance. I mean, that is really in the way, isn't it? Luckily, I actually found somewhere that was open that sold a chainsaw. So, crack on with this job. Covered it over with concrete, then it started to rain. Typical. But as you can see from the next day, it didn't really affect it. Right, this is what the wife's shed looked like, if we remember. And this is what it looks like now. It looked better before, didn't it? Although it has grown. It's now 2 foot wider and 4 foot longer. Right, onto my shed now. Oh, that's the shed empty. Roof's gone. Dismantle the panels tomorrow. Ready for reuse. So the panel to the left and the panel to the right are both 10 foot long. The panel in front of it is only 6 foot. So I'm going to use one 10-foot panel to become the side. And I'm going to put this panel with the windows back. But that's in the future. First, got to strip it down, rip this floor out and concrete it. So mix up the concrete and lay it in about 3/4 ton goes. It's nice and easy to work with then, no rushing, nothing's drying. Throw some rubble in the bottom. Not a bad job. Now I just couldn't get low enough over the back to get the stumps underneath the concrete level. So I've had to think out the box. And the more floor I get down, the bigger it looks. Right, 48 hours later, or 36 actually because it was night time, I started reassembling the shed. I got the side wall up at the back and I got that front wall back up again. That front wall is in virtually the same place as it was originally, but of course the back wall has moved back about 4 foot. So I covered them stumps up just by putting a little raised platform in at the back there. I'm going to put a bench over the top of that anyway, so it don't really bother me. Floor's nice and dry. I'm going to put a bench in now, look. Right, and that gives me something to stand on while I'm doing the roof. Clever, eh? And there's the roof on. 3-inch beams again with sterling board OSB on top. Don't forget this was a budget build in the first lockdown where Rio was shut. I had to use what I could find. Now, this is the wall that will become the famous tool wall. And I have got 7 progressions of the tool wall at the end of the video. I do remember when I built this and when I was putting stuff back in, I thought, wow, I'm never going to fill this up. Right, time for a quick makeover on a filing cabinet. I still use this one all the time. So the main body of this, it gets a black with a green highlight spray all over it. And then the drawers I do in alternate black and red. And I think it looks very nice. Right, onto the roof now. I use torch-on felt that's got a 25-year guarantee. There's 2 coats of underlay underneath this top coat. So, you know, it's going to last. I wanted to do the job once and no more. However, because it's black, it absorbs the heat. And it makes the inside very hot. So, bit of modification. 1-inch thick polystyrene with a 2-inch gap above it. This is an air gap to allow for airflow. Otherwise, it would sweat. And finish with plasterboard. Now, can't find any mesh anywhere because everywhere's shut because it's the first lockdown. So, waste paper bin. And I'm going to make my own air vents. The air vents are very important to allow for flow of air. These will get fitted at the front and at the back so that hot air, can leave via the front and it will suck cold air in via the back. So I made these just a tiny bit bigger than the hole. I'm going to tap it in with a hammer and I'll actually come back with some polyurethane expanding glue and go all around it so it's held solid. No wasps or anything can get in these air vents, they're too small. And I've left one in the middle totally open but filled with mesh. So now all that's done, we'll have a look at the temperature inside
In the shed currently.
and the temperature outside and the temperature that's coming out of those little vents, which would normally be going straight into the workshop.
The vents.
And the temperature between the polystyrene and the OSB, 34 degrees. 10 degrees hotter than in the workshop. Sorted.
Okay, most of this space is going to become for the grinder, for the polisher, for the vise, and a tiny spray booth in the corner. First, to clear up this mess.
And now it's time to build the quickest spray booth ever. It takes about a minute. Again, I'm reusing wood. Taking drawers apart because I can't get wood anywhere because everywhere's shut because it's the first bloody lockdown. This is a 240 volt, it's a bathroom fan. 110 I suppose in America would be the same. It's just a bathroom extractor fan. I thought this would definitely do the job. If you're liking this sort of video, there's more on my Handy Dad Workshop channel. There's a whole conservatory build that I do. I shall leave a link at the end.
Straight up there and out that hole.
This all went so to plan, I couldn't believe it. Everything worked out absolutely lovely. Don't forget, because it's 240 volts, keep all the wires out the way, keep everything neat and pinned. Now, this will be the quickest cabinet you've ever seen built. It's about 20 inches across. Little mystery bit of trim at the front here. Can anyone guess what that's for? Little tip here from the old man. Easiest way to cut Perspex with an angle grinder with a stone or metal cutting disc in it. It cuts, it seals, it burrs, it's lovely. Thanks, Dad. And there we are, one Perspex door. And it's fitted. I mean, it don't look like that now. Now, a week later, I found that 240 volt fan. It just weren't man enough.
The spray booth has had a modification. I found the electric fan, 240 volt fan, bathroom fan was rubbish. This is this cost about £16 online from eBay. It's a 4 amp 12 volt bilge blower for a boat. This has about 4 to 5 times the amount of suck than the bathroom fan. It runs very simply off of an old car battery that I took out of the car the other year because the wasn't holding a voltage anymore. This is charged by the smallest solar panel. I'll see if I can get a link for the solar panel or a picture. So that's constantly running this. I haven't got a switch on it yet. It's got the old-fashioned Just touch the wire when you need it. It's perfect. It sucks everything through there, stops it getting, as you can see, the spray dust. It's not round the front.
Time now for the tool wall through the ages. Ah, back in the days when I just had a hammer collection. Well, that's it, people. I hope you enjoyed it. Those of you that have seen it before, sorry. But, you know, I thought it was time to upload them all together. Right, I'm going to say bye for now. Subscribe.